Intro to Adriana Pedrosa, our 2020 ELP alumni. What drew you to ELP, especially in 2020?
Well, to be quite frank, I was looking for professional development at the time. The opportunity came to me from my boss's boss. Yeah, 2 levels above me. And so she sent me the email that she got from one of her networks. And it was about a week before the application deadline. So I was like, oh snap, let's get things rolling. I was really looking for opportunities as someone that was new to recreation, which is the field I was in at the time, to network and build relationships with folks in similar lines of work. It turned out that I met with folks who were in very different lines of work as well. So that was great. But bringing back a lot of the knowledge and the skills that live in this kind of outdoor realm and bringing that back into the work that I was doing at the time. That's kind of what I was looking for, was the ability to connect with folks and bring things back to my community so that I can continue using those pieces to offer more opportunities, to create new programs, to develop engaging opportunities for the folks I'm serving. So that's what I was looking for. And I think it turned into more than that, which is great. Like, that's not to diminish anything. It's always great when something unexpected and positive comes out of it. But I really came to it for that network and the collaborative space of like professional development.
The second question is actually on the future. And where do you hope to see ELP moving in the future? What do you think it has potential to reach?
Oh, so much. I think that realistically, I think we're already doing these things, and I think that there's motions being put into place to make it reach its full potential. So I'm super excited when we get there. But I think one of the things that I'm hoping to see is that this network gets to a point where we are recognizable to each other in all of our lines of work. That ELP is a brand, it's a program, it's something that's definable and like is visible to folks. And when people see it, they're like, dang, I know what you went through. I know that was effort and you put in work and you spent the time and you grew as a person because of it, right? So I want it to get to the point where it's like recognizable, because we have so many alumni out and about in the world in different lines of work that we are connected to each other and able to support and lift up each other. So I would love to continue to see that network grow, and just like reach our full potential of how do we connect with each other to really keep moving forward and like making sure that we're advancing in our respective lines of work.
What impact did the ELP program have, particularly your cohort, on you, whether that is career, professional, personal, relational?
I mean, I got some really great friends out of ELP. Like, in my cohort, we all connected afterwards and we all actually went on a trip. There was a group of us that went on a trip to Salt Lake City. So we all met up from all the different areas in the country that we were coming from. And I think we had about 11 of us total. So it was really awesome to have, a good chunk of our cohort connect. A lot of us are still in communication. We follow each other on social media and we send texts and stuff. So it's really great to have folks that you can connect with about this shared experience. And those are folks that I also talk to about work. Like, if I'm having an issue or if I have an idea that I'm trying to brainstorm and problem solve through, those are people that I can connect with because we've all been through a similar process. And we work in similar lines and like we have similar background and understanding. So whether we're doing the same type of work or not, the level of understanding and the context is there to be able to bounce ideas off of, which is great. So that has been a huge benefit. ELP also shifted my perspective of work. I've always loved being outside and outdoors, but like I never considered myself an outdoors person. And so ELP really opened my eyes to like, what does that look like? And how do you promote outdoors and nature and health and all of those concepts without necessarily having to be outside as your job? Like, I work for Girl Scouts now, and it's great because like outdoors is a huge pillar of what we do, but it's not the only thing we do. And there's other facets to it. So it opened my eyes to a lot of like outdoor and outdoor adjacent fields that I would not have considered previously. And I think it's realistically shifted a lot of like my career path. I started in recreation. I was working in education. I was working around kids, and I'm still doing that, but like my focus and my priorities have shifted because of all of the conversations and the conference that we went through with Shift, and just like the ELP experience being with my cohort. So lots of changes, lots of good changes, not bad changes.
This is Sawyer Connolly. He was the class of 2000, and don't tell me, I think you were 16. So Sawyer, what drew you to ELP?
I knew that the goal was to bring together people with a shared kind of commitment to conservation, environmental protection broadly, from very different backgrounds from all over the place, all over the country, from government, from private industry, from NGOs. That's what drew me to ELP. Not knowing really what it was, but knowing I was going to meet a lot of people with similar values, committed to doing good work under a very broad umbrella.
Where do you see ELP growing in the future?
I just hope that, ultimately that ELP truly brings together diverse viewpoints, even if they clash. I can't speak highly enough to the people I saw or got to meet, and how they just helped me think differently, how they challenged my viewpoints, and ultimately led to growth. And I think that's the greatest thing, that if ELP can continue to help support and foster growth in its participants, that's the greatest part of it.
And so our last question is, what was the biggest impact ELP, which is the Emerging Leaders Program, or your cohort fellow members had on you?
Again, it opened my eyes. It challenged me. It led to personal growth. The direction I took, when I was looking at master's programs and kind of environmental management, what I'm interested in is kind of conservation funding and funding mechanisms and policy. But in pursuing that and coming out of ELP, I wanted to be able to do that through a very critical lens. And that, by critical lens, I mean examining the power structures, and working towards a more equitable representative systems in our funding mechanisms and things like that. And so, that learning to question things and look at things critically is really, it began at ELP for me. And I'm so thankful for that. Again, I wouldn't be on the career path I would be loosely related to what I'm doing now, but I feel a lot more grounded and sure in what I'm doing, and the work I'm trying to do, because of ELP.
So introducing Shanae Simon, who is one of our ELP 2021 cohort members. What drew you to ELP?
I think hitting it more so kind of what drew me to it was, I think that it was a space that wasn't just for academics. It wasn't just for activists. It just wasn't for practitioners. So what really drew to the program was that it was accepting of everyone, and that you were all just coming together just to learn. And again, it was on for all different people from different walks of life. So possibly some frontline grassroots organizations, possibly some corporations, those in the health profession like you, Morgan, or those that are practitioners in the space, or just those that have an interest in academics. So I just really felt like it was really speaking to a larger organization and people from different backgrounds. And then also what really drew me to it as well is just kind of its inception of really kind of being committed to being outdoors first in this space, and then kind of, going, I guess, building outward, then inward, right? So many of these organizations are kind of in and then going out, but you already started as out, and you're just trying to bring everyone out. And so I really like that philosophy and focus of the program that was really getting you outdoors or preaching outdoors, and then coming in to kind of work from the inside out or out in.
That's awesome, because I think it really bleeds into our next question in terms of what you hope to see ELP to move into or grow into for the future.
Yeah, I really would love to see ELP grow into the future as being like the organization that people want to be a part of, or want to be a part of this experience. To say, you know what, yes, I'm a part of NRPA, or yes, I'm a part of TRPA, or whatever the organization that you're in, like according to your industry, but to say it really would benefit me to be a part of ELP, because it really is helping me to elevate kind of the work that I'm doing, for me to be in company with people from various perspectives and backgrounds, but knowing that we all have this commonality of like health and green spaces. For me, I really see like this work, as well as a lot of my work, of how do you connect community, people, and even policy. And so I think it would be amazing to see ELP to kind of operate in all of these spaces and to really bring together people that are already in these spaces, or even to prepare them to say, you know what, yes, I've been an outdoor parks person or practitioner, but I think now, like, I think I could do something in policy, or now I could do something kind of in consulting, or whatever that might look like for that person. But I think really connecting people, parks, and then policy. That's kind of my philosophy. And I would love to see ELP to kind of branch that bridge, if you will.
For Brian Anderson, ELP 2019. Next question would be, what drew you to ELP?
What drew me to ELP was, it was an amazing opportunity to meet new people in a beautiful place, which at the time was Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
What do you see the future of ELP looking like? What would you hope to see ELP grow into?
What I would hope that ELP could grow into is a network of inspiring individuals, and also the same amazing experience of leadership development that the program was for me. However, what I think could come of this is, as this program becomes more mature and as this program gains more and more and more traction, the individuals who are part of it, I could imagine as some sort of support network, both for the people who are alumni and also for people who are interested in this topic more generally.
So, final question is, what impact had your cohort, particularly with you in your 2019, had on your career trajectory or thought process change and perspective?
ELP experience was the impetus for my master's thesis. I was able to meet Len Nessifer, who turned out to be one of my master's thesis mentors, and it was incredibly transformational in that it completely changed the direction of what I ended up doing my master's research in. And that work turned out to be working with Len and the Navajo Nation regarding using outdoor recreation as a mechanism of economic development, and also the positive outcomes that could have in other aspects.
What I will start with is kind of introduction with Sachi Cody, who is an ELP 2020 member. What did you come to ELP for? What drew you to the program?
When I first heard about ELP, it immediately struck me as something very, very unique, especially for like early career individuals. A lot of programs don't really exist to help you grow personally and professionally the way that ELP does. So I was very interested in just the mentorship that would be provided, as well as the focus on this whole topic of mental health and nature, and how it really does affect across tons and tons of industry. And it's a really important thing to have conversations around. Yeah, I was really excited to not only get to be a part of this, but I do remember once I was in the program and I was able to meet up with one of the other girls in the cohort, and we went on a hike, and we were reflecting to each other that, like, when we had that first meeting with everyone, we both thought to ourselves, like, oh my gosh, these are our people. Like, we just felt immediately so comfortable, so supported, and just so inspired by everyone around us, that I'm really glad that ELP gave me the opportunities that it has, and that I got to be a part of it, and that I still get to be a part of it as an alumni.
So second question from the Emerging Leaders Program would be, where do you hope to see it go in the future?
There's a lot of different ways I see ELP going. We're at a very critical time in sort of ELP's growth, and there's a lot of opportunity to go in various directions. I think it could really grow into its own entity that's separate from the conference. I think that it could become a bigger, more integral part of the conference. It's really depending on where the people who are part of ELP right now want to see it go. But I think out of all of the possibilities, like I've said before, because ELP is full of people and alumni who are brilliant hearts, brilliant minds. I think that's something that we really need to capitalize on. Like that network and that community is so special and unique. And when we put all those people in a room, so many magical things can happen. I think it's really important for us to focus on fostering that community no matter which direction we go.
What type of impact do you feel ELP in your cohort has had on you moving forward, whether that's career or relational or such?
ELP has had a lot of impact on my life. I think one of the great things about it is there are so many personal takeaways from all the facilitations and from the conversations that I have with everyone else in my cohort and other alumni, that I can really take those bigger lessons and apply them to all different aspects of my life. And that could be professional, could be my leadership style, and also just kind of the way I carry myself and the way I interact with others and the way that I form my own goals and aspirations. And I think it's such a great give and take that the people who are involved with ELP can not only take like this really, really rich information and growth and bring it back to their homes and back to their careers and their industries and help spread those ideas, but also take all the individual things that they've learned throughout their own careers and bring it to ELP. And I think that's a really great thing that informs the facilitations and the conversations that we have. So I'm really, grateful for that kind of back and forth flow of information and ideas.
This is Shanto Gray Eyes. I met him, we were actually 2018 colleagues together for ELP, the Emerging Leaders Program during that time. Question would be, is what drew you to ELP?
I didn't know about ELP at first. I was working for Conservation Legacy at the time, and I believe that a few staff members of Conservation Legacy had opportunities to represent the organization in the ELP cohort over the years. I was approached by one of our administrative staff of Conservation Legacy and I guess nominated, if you will, to join the ELP cohort. I was accepted, and that was sort of the beginning of what I saw was how I got into ELP. You know, I think that under the new leadership of ELP and the direction that we're moving in now has given opportunities and rise to a program that could, you know, truly be inclusive to a lot of young and up and coming professionals. So that was sort of my experience with it. And what it means to me now is obviously I've been a part of the ELP team for a little bit as a facilitator and whatnot. You know, the relationships and the cadre building of each and every cohort that I've had the opportunity of serving, you know, it's been great to be able to recognize that, you know, our program doesn't exactly speak to the quality of the person that comes into the program. You know, Emerging Leaders is not the best name, only because the people that come to us are already subject matter experts. They're already leaders in their own right, and they're already doing really good work. So it's about gathering the people to wherever the cohort is meeting, and then giving them the time, the space, and the support to be able to synthesize all of these really cool ideas and allow them to recognize and be the leaders that they are already in a space that sort of facilitates and nurtures that opportunity for growth.
What impact has the Emerging Leader Program had on you, whether that was professionally or relationally, just individually?
I think the impact that the Emerging Leaders Program had on me was sort of affirmed or reaffirmed capabilities that I have to facilitate space in areas that are unfamiliar to me. I think just bolstering confidence to be able to stand in front of a room and, you know, gather people together and synthesize their ideas, whether it be in front of a panel or organizing logistics for, you know, convening space to happen. I think that is probably the biggest value skill that I've gotten out of the ELP program.